Greetings, my noble knights. It is I, Blaze Templar, and as the logo kind of indicates, we are back with another draft league at long last. This one doesn't even have a name quite yet, so I'm just calling it the CDL right now because Chill Draft League is the only thing I can think of. I hope we do get a name of some sort, as we do have team names like the Detroit Magnetons, the Lexington Larvitars, Seattle Seadras, Wisconsin Dust Noirs, the Nebraska Noiverns, the Boozles, the Manaswines, and the Electivires. So cool stuff there, overall. But let's go ahead and take a look at our draft. This is an RU and below only draft. So I decided on Mega Ampharos as our Mega. As you can kind of notice, Megas weren't as called upon in this league as you might have expected. There are only 8, let me repeat that, 8 Megas available in RU and below. And so that's why I immediately went for a Mega. And I decided Mega Ampharos as I wanted something a bit bulkier than normal. Because I like to usually run a pretty quick Mega unless I'm running like Mega Scissor. So I decided, you know what, I haven't used Mega Ampharos and it sounds like it'd be fun. I had a lot of fun using Amphi in my more recent Silver playthrough on 3DS. So I figured kind of carry over that spirit of Silver. Anyway, I kind of had this idea of going a very, bulky Trick Room-based team originally. So Bronzong was kind of a great pick overall. Plus, it checks a lot of the things that Mega Ampharos struggles with. Ice, ground, that sort of thing. Does okay against Fairy, too. So, again, it works out pretty well. And it does get Trick Room. It does have Levitate or Heat Proof, so it's got some variety and tech skills there. Can be kind of neat. It's a lot of fun to run like with Weakness Policy if you want to run like an offensive Bronzong. It's very gimmicky if you do that, but it has its place. But I wanted to bring some offensive pressure that was decently quick. I mean, if I'm going to run Trick Room, I'm not going to need a whole lot of speed investment, but a little bit wouldn't hurt. At least this is what my mindset was at this point. And so I figured Honchkrow is a dark type. It covers some of the other weaknesses that Bronzong and Ampharos can't. And plus, after a boost or two, this thing is just an absolute nuke. Really a good Pokemon overall to work with for offensive pressure. Didn't think I'd be ever using a Honchkrow, but hey, here we are using a Honchkrow. One of the guys I had played in the IPL would probably be over the moon at the moment. You know you are if you're watching this. So a not-so-silent nudge call out, Anyway, moving on. Porygon 2. I wanted a Trick Roomer that wasn't a Psychic type, something that was bulky. I wanted to get Snorlax, but as you can see, round 3, Snorlax got drafted before I could get it. And overall, though, Porygon 2 kind of worked better for the team. It checks a lot of the things that were threatening me quite well. Yes, if it loses a Violite, that's a ghastly loss. But, hey, Pokemon fun. But we can work with that. We can definitely do work with P2. Download, analytic abilities, you get the idea. So it can do some good work. Cloyster. Actually, I drafted Cloyster not just because of its Shell Smash potential, but because it actually has Rapid Spin and Spikes. So it actually is a bit of an offensive/utility Pokemon, and people won't see that coming, especially since, again, Cloyster is one of those Pokemon you expect to be the sweeper type, but it actually does a great job being a tank on the physical side, too. So you never know what set I'm going to bring, and that's kind of what I wanted to do with at least a few of my Pokemon. Like Mega Ampharos, it's obviously going to be a bulky special attacker, probably. But something like Cloyster that has other utility, nice stuff there. Xatu, again, Trick Roomer, but it also is a Magic Bouncer, which I don't like having hazards on my side of the field. I prefer to have them on your side of the field. And I'm usually pretty decent at knowing when people are going to go for hazards. So having a bulky Magic Bouncer that has U-turn, really quite handy. Especially as Baton Pass has been banned, so Espeon can't really effectively use it as a quick in and out. Xatu, on the other hand, has that U-turn to get out of town quicker. I also wanted to draft 2 other Pokemon. One was a Steel type in the form of Fortress, which the Dusknoirs picked up, and Piloswine, which the Dusknoirs picked up. This guy sniped me on 2 of the Pokemon I wanted more than anything else. The Fortress and the Piloswine. I wanted Piloswine because it's actually stupidly bulky, with its Eviolite on anyway. It has good coverage with Ice and Ground, and 100 base attack isn't actually all that bad in RU and below. So I kind of wanted that. Didn't get it, so... and this is kind of a recurring trend that happened with me, and apparently everyone else in the league, where, oh, I want this... Oh, it got drafted already. And that happened a lot. So we had to kind of scrape at the bottom of the barrel at points, or try to adjust our teams and mindsets. Like, I was originally going to go a very all-out Trick Room focused team, but with key members of that like Trick Room focus being snapped up, I knew I was in a bit of trouble. But it was around this time that Embor got drafted, and looking at my team so far, absolutely nothing takes anything from an Embor. Mega Ampharos, it's going to get destroyed by Earthquake. Bronzong, well, Flare Blitz, Reckless Flare Blitz, I don't care if I'm heat-proof, I'm still dying. The thing is just so monstrous. Honchkrow, Wild Charge, Head Smash, yeah, no, it's just stupidly strong. P2, again, superpower, just wrecks it. Cloyster, good defense, but not against Embor. Xatu, yeah, no, it can't eat a Head Smash. Even with Reflect, it's not going to do well against a Reckless boosted Head Smash. So, obviously, at this point, I was just like, oh dear Lord, please have mercy on my soul. This thing is going to slaughter me. Thankfully, I did find one Pokemon that I feel is a decent enough check to it. And they were the Water Ground types. Now, Seismitoad had been taken just a little bit earlier. And it actually has better overall defenses than Quagsire. But here's the kicker. Quagsire has 2 major advantages over Seismitoad. 1, it can get unaware, and 2, recovery. Obviously, if I'm using Quagsire against Embor, I'm probably not going to want to use unaware unless I'm worried about a bulk upset. So I'll have to keep that in mind. As unaware also ignores stat drops of your opponent. So that could be a little dicey if I do it that way, but at the same time, if it's superpowering over and over again, and I'm just recover stalling until it weakens a little bit, I can then go into like Xatu, and no problem there. But it's still something I'll have to think about. Anyway, Quagsire checks a number of the things that were just absolutely terrifying to me at the time. It's not a perfect check. I mean, say some of those Pokemon decide to run like Hidden Power Grass or something, I could be in a lot of trouble. I'm not going to say what all those Pokemon are, outside of, well, it's my soft check to Embor. Like a defensive pivot, anyway. And really, it's kind of obvious that it is my only real defensive check to Embor. But next we have Yanmega. I wanted something because I wasn't getting all the Trick Room shenanigans I wanted. I needed something that was able to both operate in Trick Room and outside of Trick Room. And while Yanmega is a very quick Pokemon, it's only base 95 speed, so it can actually run in Trick Room if you do the negative speed at nature and all that stuff. Or you can run it with with Tinted Lens, of course. Or if you want to be more offensive without relying on Trick Room, you can always run Speed Boost. And it actually has really great special coverage, which I didn't have a lot of that outside of the Mega Ampharos, on the special side anyway. So it kind of worked out on a double level. Some of the people who were suggesting Pokemon to me were like, oh, you should get Riombi because it's quick and it has great coverage. And I liked the idea of Riombi, but it doesn't have quite the versatility that Yanmega did for this particular situation. Riombi, for example, you can't have it on a pure Trick Room team. Yanmega, you can maybe make that work. And Tinted Lens does give it some nice oomph. Plus, it actually gets a good flying stab with Yanmega. So those are some of the reasons why I chose Yanmega. And, of course, Riombi got picked up before then. I was kind of hoping to also get a particular spinner on that point, but Sarina was picked up by the Lexington Larvitars before I got a chance. That was going to be my spinner in the round 9 selection, so it got knocked down to my round 10 selection for a spinner. But I wanted to get a fire type, and the Ghost Fire type of Alolan Marowak obviously works beautifully in Trick Room. It also gets Flame Charge, I believe, so it can actually speed itself up if need be. So it can technically work outside of there. It does get some great abilities in Lightning Rod and Rockhead. So it hits hard, it's got great stabs in Fire and Ghost, and it can always, of course, still run Earthquake. So it does have good variety of attacks. Its real down point for a lot of teams is the fact that it is so utterly slow. But again, in my case, it's not as big a deal because I'm running Trick Room. Then Hitmonchan actually comes into play because it actually can take some hits you wouldn't expect it to, and then retaliate with a 1 to 2 hit KO with its Drain Mach Punch combo or Fire Punch or whatever I need for that week. It has great elemental coverage through its punches. It gets Drain Punch for some recovery, priority with Mach Punch, and Rapid Spin. So I'm not completely out there. But because I wasn't able to get Serena and not have aromatherapy just on a spinner, so I wouldn't have to worry about like Toxic Spikes at all, ever, basically, I needed something that could deal with Toxic Spikes because there are a few Pokemon in there that I believe get them. I'd have to look it up again, but I think I remember Garbodor was one of them. That's right. Things like Garbodor having Toxic Spikes, I really hate Toxic Spikes. And having just a Poison and Grass type kind of covers a lot of those things. Plus, resistance to Fairy deals well with Fairies because of its Poison typing. It deals well with Water types because of its Grass typing. And it just overall has some good utility. So it worked out alright, plus its Poison typing does kind of mitigate some of the Grass weaknesses. Admittedly, it does give me a Psychic weakness, but I have plenty of Psychic types. I've got some Dark types in the mix. I have a Ghost type. Psychics really don't worry me too much. I have plenty of ways to deal with Psychics. So that's kind of what the mindset was with the Draft League. I did have to make some jumps to get it to kind of gel together a little bit better. As I lost a couple of picks I really wanted. But everyone had that situation happen, so I think it's okay overall. Is it ideal? Of course not. But, again, everyone had that situation happen, so, you know. So that's the team. And we will be starting the Draft League pretty soon. And if any of the members of this league see this video, I am voting on the nickname of the CDL because I think that's just so cool, and it really does stand out for the chill Draft League idea that is basically this league. And plus, yeah, it's just kind of cool. I'll admit I haven't played an RU in a long time at this point, and below for that matter, so I'm a little bit rusty on these tiers, but I think I can make this work. I think I picked some pretty good Pokemon overall. It is weird to see some of them all the way down in RU now, but it makes some sense. Like P2 being an RU makes sense because of, oh, I don't know, knockoff buff. But regardless, those are the teams. And I will see you in the Draft League. Goodbye.